to go into our previews of the week. This your boy DJ, no Twitter handle.
Oh, boy, you crazy. Well, yeah, man, let's get into this one, man. Let's go. I would love to sit here and be Molly. I would love to sit here and be Jenny. And let's talk about the breaking news of the game of the week between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. Heck of a matchup. And what is it called? The Superdome?
That's it. The dome.
The Superdome.
Yes,
it's
sir.
spooky out there. It's spooky out there, man. I tell you, it's spooky. Well, I'll go ahead and start, man, and save y'all for last on this one. DJ, you're gonna have to go before TJ since you're that way. So,
not a problem.
I'm looking forward to this matchup here, man. What time is this game being played? Any of y'all know? It's 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Mm-hmm.
Man, come on, they gotta treat us better than that, man. It just needs to be prime time. But I'm not gonna be watching this. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna have 2 up so I can watch it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my best to watch it because y'all already know how I get down. I keep pounding. But let's talk about it, man. This game is gonna be interesting. This is very hard for me to, talk about or really pick on a Tuesday night. I think the Saints I think Sean Payton did what he needed to do against 2 heavier run football teams. And he knew the best way to beat them was to really keep them limited as much as possible running the ball and forcing those quarterbacks to throw it later on. This team right here, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, are really balanced. They run the ball very close to the same amount of times that they throw the ball, except for this past week. But for the most part, that's what they do. The defense has been balling against the run. Like I stated before, last year they finished second in the NFL against the run. Over these last couple of weeks, they've been balling. They probably one of the best teams against the run because teams have been trying to run. They just haven't allowed much to get off against them. I'm interested to see the offensive game plan against this house-bringing defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know if Lattimore is going to be able to match up well against Mike Evans. Mike Evans usually does pretty good against him. But I don't know what they're going to be able to do with Chris Godwin. The tight ends, I think, can kind of get off here and there. But linebackers been making some plays. I think this could be a really big game for Michael Thomas and Ted Ginn and a couple of those other guys, especially if Teddy Bridgewater can get that ball out there. And I think he will. I think you're going to see a different Teddy Bridgewater because he's going to have to be that kind of quarterback to win this game. I don't think he can just be a manager to win this type of game, not the way that Tampa Bay is playing ball. With that being said, I don't want to talk too long because I want to give y'all the floor, even though I think we should spend more time in this review talking about this game since the game of the week. This is fairly even, and I'm surprised that I'm saying this because I would have never thought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be somewhat evenly matched with the New Orleans Saints. But I'm a believer in the New Orleans Saints, man. And I could definitely be wrong. But something I've seen in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I see more flaws in them than I see in the New Orleans Saints. And with the coaching staff that New Orleans Saints have, I think that they're going to be able to exploit those flaws and force Tampa to have to play their game, not Tampa's game. And ultimately, I think they're going to come down and win the football game. It might be a 3-point game or maybe 6 or something like that. I think it's going to be pretty close. But I do think the New Orleans Saints finds a way to win this game. I'm not going to say I'm still not a believer, but I got to see more from Tampa. And I think I'm going to just leave it at that, man. I got New Orleans Saints winning by 3-6, something like that.
By what?
Between 3 and 6, man. I can't get there. It's too early, man. I can't get on 3. I think it's going to be close. Between 3 and 6. I know Vegas has them favored by, 3.5, something right there. That's pretty much a pick 'em game. But I think it's going to be something like that.
Okay.
I don't think I picked y'all to win one time this week. This season. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I had y'all against the
Giants. You lost that one too.
Yeah, and every time I pick y'all to win, y'all lose. So y'all might win this one, maybe.
That is true. But yeah. Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to the Superdome. I know Marshawn Lattimore is probably still having flashbacks of that meme that went out last year when he got cooked by Mike Evans, that wasted picture. Are we going to see that again this year? I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. The Saints are running into a Tampa Bay team that obviously I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, but I think this team is starting to believe in themselves, believe in the message that Bruce Arians is preaching to them. I do think it's going to be interesting to see what the New Orleans Saints is going to do on offense. I think this is one of those games that Teddy Bridgewater is not going to be able to just hope the team around him is going to continue to, how can I put this? Because it's not like he's been playing bad football. He's been playing not to lose, but allow your players around you to help him get through these games. Obviously, he didn't score a touchdown or throw a touchdown, or New Orleans Saints altogether didn't score a touchdown last week. Obviously, the previous week before that, I think he threw 2 touchdowns in Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like this is a game he's going to have to throw that ball in the air and have to really put up some points. I think he's going to have to score a couple touchdowns to compete with this offense. I'm not saying this because I think the New Orleans Saints defense can bog us down. I'm not expecting a Tampa Bay team that's still learning how to win to put up another 55 points on the road against a team, because definitely the New Orleans Saints are definitely buttoned up a lot better than I personally think even the Los Angeles Rams. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I just don't think that the New Orleans Saints right now, without Drew Brees, have enough firepower to deal with the Bucs. Alvin Kamara is going to have a really big game. But as we've seen already in the past against some really good running backs, I think the Bucs have already seen. They've already seen Christian McCaffrey, let him get 53 yards. Saquon Barkley had, 10, 15 yards before he got knocked out the game. The Rams could never even get anything established and only gave the ball to their running backs, I think, 8 times altogether. And they've been stopping the run, and even the running back coming out the backfield. That's been their emphasis, and I think that's going to be another emphasis on this game. And I do think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can go into New Orleans, and they will go into New Orleans and will beat this New Orleans Saints. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to go on. They're going to go out there and win by a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to another field goal, because this team, for some reason, is finding ways to. They're either going to win this game or lose this game in the last 5 minutes, and they have shown that every game this season outside of even the 49ers game, kind of like that until that pick 6. But Yeah, I think they're going to be good enough, and I think this is a road warrior team that loves to be in other people's stadiums and shushing the crowd, and I think that's what they plan on going there and doing. Bucs beat the Saints by 6.
The Bucs not beating the New Orleans Saints. The fact of the matter is this. I know y'all on cloud 9 because y'all beat the Rams, but y'all not that good. Y'all better, but y'all not that good. You're not on the Saints level. You're not going to put up a bunch of points. The Superdome is going to be a key factor. I know you've seen Dak Prescott struggle. Jameis Winston is going to struggle. The fact of the matter is I want to take you back to week 1 of last season when nobody expected the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to come into the Superdome and beat the New Orleans Saints. The same situation that happened with Dallas is the same situation that's going to happen with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Saints owe y'all. They owe y'all because y'all beat them at home. This game not going to be close. It's not going to be close. I mean, I think that this game, I think they're going to get pushed back down to reality. I think that Ty Bowles is going to go out there living by the blitz, and he's going to die by the blitz. The Saints, the way that Ty Bowles plays defense plays into the Saints' strengths, which is a screen game. So what they're going to do is Ty Bowles is going to be blitzing all over the place, and they're going to just go check it on down to Alvin Kamara, and Alvin Kamara is probably going to be putting up probably some record-setting numbers. And if you don't, you're probably going to see Jared Cook finally show up. The way that I'm telling you, the way that Ty Bowles plays defense plays into the strength of the Saints. I mean, when the Saints played the Jets, when Ty Bowles was the head coach, they destroyed the Jets because all he do is blitz. So I think that Jameis Winston is going to come in there. He's going to turn the ball over because for the past couple of weeks, the Saints have been they've been causing turnovers, man. And I just think that Teddy Bridgewater is probably going to score about 2 touchdowns in the game. This game not going to be close, man. Y'all in the wrong place at the wrong time because everybody think that the New Orleans Saints not going to be anything without Drew Brees. The message has been sent. Now you have a bunch of guys with a whole bunch of confidence, and I want you to also be on the lookout for a person that a lot of people don't really be talking about. His name is Marcus Williams. Now, I know y'all know about that Minnesota Miracle, but according to Pro Football Focus, he's the number 2 ranked safety in the league, and he's going up against O.J. Howard. And he has like 2 interceptions this season, so he's really been ball hawking. So it's going to be a problem.
I mean, everything that you're saying, the Buccaneers have basically been doing the same thing. Like you said, it's been feast or famine. But like I said before, I mean, this team is second in the league when it comes to turnovers on defense. Be it what you want to call it, I mean, this team is going to live or die by the blitz. But when you saw them sit back a little bit in that Rams game, that was the reason why they started moving the ball a little bit. And Todd Bowles is not going to continue to do something if you know it's not going to work. I really, it seems like it's always been adjustments every single week when it comes to things. Like Levante Davis playing at a high level. I mean, we're going to get pressure on Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, it's going to happen. How is he going to deal with it? You dealt with the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, for the most part, don't blitz a lot. They like to get pressure with their front four, and that's it. The week before that, you played the Seattle Seahawks, another team that likes to put a lot of emphasis on their front four to get pressure. This is probably the first game that Teddy Bridgewater is going to have to deal with a blitz and, a lot of pressure coming at him. I mean, we haven't seen it yet, so it's going to be interesting to see. You even said it before, Teddy Bridgewater is not the same Teddy Bridgewater. You don't think he's probably going to be the person of the future when it comes to this team when Drew Brees is ready to move on. Teddy Bridgewater, in my opinion, hasn't shown yet enough that he can really sling that ball around. Obviously, Alvin Kamara is going to be a threat. I mean, if you're talking about somebody that's going to – I'm nervous to see, even though, like I said, the Buccaneers have done very well against some of the better running backs in the league. I think they're going to probably do another good job with another really good running back. And they're going to make Teddy Bridgewater beat them, and I don't know if he can. I got Michael Thomas. Without Drew Brees, I mean, he's just looking like another receiver because they don't have that chemistry yet. I mean, if they're working on it, we're going to see what they got. You know, like you said, Jared Cook hasn't really showed up as much. Ted Ginn, you know, hasn't stretched any fields yet. I mean, like I said, this offense will have to open up because, like I said, they're going to put a lot of emphasis on stopping Alvin Kamara. And they've done it before with these other running backs, and I think they're going to really try to do that. And Teddy Bridgewater's time to beat them. And I don't think he can yet. He hasn't shown it, and I don't think he will.
I mean, that's understandable. But like I said, the Saints are one of the best screen teams in the league. And the way that Ty Bowles plays defense, that's the reason why the Saints are going to win this football game. And I just think, all in all, the Saints are a better football team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, you can have all the talent in the world, but at the end of the day, it's all about coaching. I mean, Bruce Arians is a good coach, but Sean Payton is a better coach. I think they just have a better team, and they play better when they're inspired. And I think that the fact that, you know, y'all beat them at home in week 1, they remember that. A lot of those guys are still there. I mean, so this is the revenge tour right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't get the revenge that they wanted against the Rams. They got it against the Cowboys, and now they want to do it against the Buccaneers. But I do think, you know, one thing that does concern me, though, is how would they handle success. I think that's a question for both teams. How would they be able to handle success? I mean, everybody been singing the praise of the Buccaneers. I mean, they got y'all, you know, hopes up, and you know, fan base hopes up, and so does the Saints. I mean, all these guys, you know, been talking. I mean, they've been talking about the secondary of the Saints, talking about they're not that good. All of a sudden, they you know, they put on a you know, what do you say, a virtuoso performance. You know, so I mean, how will you respond to that? So I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, as far as Michael Thomas, I mean, nine targets. I mean, 9 catches, 95 yards last week. He didn't get into the end zone, but hey, he throw the ball to him, he catch it, and that's all. You know, that's all you can ask for. But like I said, I just think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers about to get brought back down to earth.
Yeah, I want to go ahead. I've been letting y'all go back.
Yeah,
hold on to that.
It was just all the way you said. Okay,
hold on to that. Write it down. Do whatever you need to do. Parking lot. Hold on to it. All right. I just want to get one thing in because I am going to ask you a question, DJ, because I wanted to get into it when we were talking about last week. One thing I haven't seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers experience is really being down and being able to come back while they're down. They've been spotting, especially the past 2 weeks, pretty much a 3-touchdown lead. And then they just saying, okay, can you hold on to it? That's what they've been dealing with. I haven't seen them go down by 2 touchdowns, really go down by 10 points and be able to muster up some type of way of winning. How do you feel like, or do you feel confident enough in your team that if something like that happens, let's just say y'all go down 10-0, and then that running game has to turn into Jameis dropping back, throwing every single time. How do you feel, well, majority of the time, do you feel comfortable playing against the New Orleans Saints or a team like that defensively that's been flying around, getting turnovers, making all kind of plays on defense? Do you feel comfortable with him and this team being able to come back and beat them?
Let's be honest. I mean, no team should. I mean, I would not sit here and be honest if I'm sitting here saying if you get down on the road, especially in a hostile environment like the New Orleans Saints offer, that's not where you want to be. You know, that's not a situation you want to be in. It's definitely going to test the intestinal fortitude of this team, to say the least. You know, but once again, it goes back to the beliefs that I personally have in this coaching staff. Bruce Arians has been, I said in my video, Bruce Arians has probably been coaching longer than I've been on this earth. This man's been in every situation possible. He's been on Super Bowl winning teams. He's been on bad teams. He's damn near ran an entire college football team in Temple. You know, he's done just about everything. You know, you do things that Sean Payton's a better coach. You could say that, yes, he is. I mean, he's been a head coach a lot longer than Bruce Arians has been and had a lot more success and has won a Super Bowl as a head coach. But that doesn't take away from what the type of stuff and the life that Bruce Arians has lived from, early hood to, like I said, he's been in every situation as well, and it will be interesting. Do I think they can actually weather a storm like that? I do believe that because there's a lot of calmness when it comes to this team now. They're not as erratic when it comes to things. Like you said, they have, for the most part, at least in this last game, handle the lead. It never seemed like the moment ever got too big for them that last game. And that was a step up. You're still talking about a team that's learning how to win and learning how to do things correctly. That's going to be another step if they end up running into something like that. So that's a question mark that's out there for that team, and I do agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see if they actually can deal with
it. And the only reason why I say that is I know they went against Aaron Donald, but this defensive line is much better than that Rams defensive line. And I believe that this defensive line is like games won in the trenches. I think this defensive line was going to potentially give Jameis Winston some problems. So if you get down, y'all going to have to throw the ball because they haven't been giving up a lot of rushing yards either, especially over the last couple of weeks like y'all. I mean, I believe just the Rams game, they didn't run the ball, so that helped y'all with y'all stats. But y'all did shut us down. I don't think the 49ers got off really running the ball like that either, which they've been doing really well in their 3 games running the ball, 2 games outside of y'all. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think y'all make valid points, and I want you to get back and going back with DJ. I just really wanted to get that question in with TJ. I really wanted to get that question in because I don't know if that's something that they faced, and this may be another learning opportunity like that Giants game. And I think Sean Payton is so intelligent and good as a coach that I believe he's gonna – I think he's going to put that in them. And so they may go up early because the Rams kicked the ball out of bounds to start the game with. So y'all had a short field to start that first drive. I think he's going to put that in early, and let's just say they go up by 10, 14 points. It's going to be extremely tough for this team here that's not experienced it to be able to weather that storm. I think if y'all had went through it already, then yeah, I think y'all could do it. But I think y'all got to learn. And I could be off. But I just wanted to know. I just want to know your take on that. Get back to his question. Get back to his question. What he was talking about.
It's a very interesting point, and like you said, that's why I said I don't know because I haven't seen it. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, I haven't seen it yet. So that is something to watch and see how this game plays out when it comes to that. But the only thing I wanted to answer to you, TJ, you're talking about the press clippings. This team still, people don't believe in this team still. I normally don't listen to national media like that, but I thought it was gonna be very interesting to see what they're gonna talk about. Everything was about the Rams and how they let the Bucs come in there and do what they did and set franchise records on them and how bad they looked. It had really nothing to do with the Bucs. The only person I really heard that kind of made mention to the Bucs maybe being a dangerous team if they're able to continue to progress the way they are was Chris Sims. Outside of him, I listened to multiple people. I know Mike's best friend, Colin Cowherd, he definitely didn't want to hear it. He laughed at the point that you let the Bucs beat you at home. Skip and Shannon, I don't even think they said the Bucs name during the Rams 55-40 loss to the Bucs. Good Morning America, they made mention to it being an expiring game, which shout out to our, not many people really care for our GM. His father passed away prior to the game. Definitely thoughts and prayers go out to the Light family at that troubling time. They used that as a galvanizing moment. They said to win the Rams game, that was the reason why they won that game, not because this team can actually be a decent team. So I don't think there is much press clippers out there for them to think they're on cloud 9 right now. I mean, I think they still have a lot to prove, which this is another opportunity for them to prove, and I think they're going to come out there and win this game.
I mean, that's fair. But I want to keep you to keep this in mind too. The Saints don't just have Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback. They also have Taysom Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, the Saints been running a lot of RPO with him. I'm telling you, don't be surprised if Taysom Hill gets in that game and he throw the ball downfield to Tay again for a touchdown because nobody going to expect it. So they're going to throw some things. They're going to throw some things at you.
I can't wait.
Well, I want to comment and then Al can go back. DJ, don't take this personally. We just talking about it.
Rolling the Bucs, man. I'm going personally.
I feel the same way from watching this game a couple times, man. My whole take was the Rams, not so much the Bucs. And I don't want to discredit y'all.
Man, it's fine.
But like you have to put points on the board, and that's what y'all did. But I thought the Rams played a sloppy, terrible coaching. They did everything that like they looked past y'all and was like, well, we just gonna diss the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're just gonna look past them. We're gonna worry about this Thursday night game against a division opponent because we're that good that we should be able to beat them. And that's what it looked like to me. So I get why the national media, and it could just be that they don't want to give y'all respect because I've been there because they don't like to give us the same type of respect. So I understand that. So I understand that. But, and I'm not trying to throw shade. It's just when I watched the game, that's what I got from it. I got from like, how in the world is this really happening? Like, give the ball to Gurley. And they gave the ball to Gurley, he scored, bam. Now they start moving. And like, y'all made some good points. They saw what Daniel Jones did, so they figured, oh, Jared Goff will go out there and do the same thing. Yeah. And it bit them in the butt. But I really think that if they came out playing Browns football and inspired football, it would have been a different outcome. But so I looked at that more as y'all won, so I'm giving you credit. But I thought the Rams played a terrible game. Terrible game. Had a terrible game plan. So maybe that's why the national media is saying that. Not trying to give them, a pass, but so it's gonna be interesting, man. I don't want to give y'all last words, man, before we move on. Unless y'all already said it.
Saints by 10.
And you said Bucs by 3? I mean by 6?
I said by 6.
Okay. I got Saints by 3 to 6 points.
Gay gonna miss about 3 field goals in this game.
Man, that's hopeful thinking right there.
Pressure.
That's hopeful thinking right there. Shoot.
Wide right, wide left, wide right.
All right, well, let's move on to the next game of the NFC South. What we got?
What we want to do first?
We got the all right, well, let's go. We got the Jacksonville Jag coming in the Bank of America Stadium to play against the Carolina Panthers.
Ooh.
That's going to be a good one.
Man.
Tough.
I started off. Man. Ooh. I got the Carolina Panthers winning this football game. But this is a game right here. This about to take you back to the Bart Starr, Johnny Unitas days.
Yeah.
This about to take you back to the 3 yards in a cloud of dust type game right here. Oh, man. Like, if you like defense, this is the game for you. I think that the Carolina Panthers are going to win this football game. It's basically like you looking at yourself in a mirror from every position, man. Like you're looking at yourself in the mirror. From the quarterback to backup quarterbacks, the running backs. I mean, you got Leonard Fournette, you got a Christian McCaffrey. I mean, you got like the wide receiver. Like it's like they mirror images of themselves. I got the Carolina Panthers winning this game. I got the score being 13-10. Like it's gonna be one of them snot bubble games right here. And honestly, okay, I that's my score. But if the Jacksonville Jaguars lose themselves like they normally do, this game could get ugly. They're talking about like 27-13 or something like that. But it's gonna be a low scoring game to me.
I feel the same exact way. This is gonna be punch for punch. This is an old uh Foreman fight. You know, you just keep
Right.
punching somebody in the face. Just
Right.
wow. I mean, everybody gonna come out looking ugly. I mean, it's just gonna be. I mean, you got the. I mean, I think he's the darling of the NFL. What's his name? The
Minshew. Yeah.
Gardner Mitchell. Yeah.
Minshew.
Gardner
I
Mitchell.
mean, they got this man over here. What movie was that? That other real skinny headband dude. I don't remember, but they had him take a picture with him. I'm like, man, they trying to
Yeah, I
cut
saw
this
that.
man. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, that's the one thing that might be dangerous about this game. And I feel like the league wants to see this team actually be successful for the story of it.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's going to be enough to beat the Panthers. The one thing that makes me a little nervous about picking the Panthers is that they haven't won at home yet. They won on the road in very convincing fashion. So, I mean, coming to Bank of America Stadium, I think it'll be a different energy there because I think not many people are behind Cam Newton, but they are behind Kyle Allen. So I think a lot of people are going to show up, be loud, bring that energy to that team. And the Jags just ain't got enough. I mean, like I said, they're gonna definitely punch the Panthers in the mouth. The Panthers gonna punch them back. You know, like I said, their defense is just as good. That boy Mitchell, he's gonna get hit. We're gonna see how he get up, but it's not gonna be enough. I think the Panthers are gonna win this game, probably by 2 touchdowns. I think it is not gonna be as close as TJ says it's gonna be. I just don't know if D.D. Westbrook and Fournette is enough, you know, to keep that team on keep that team on the field long enough for the Jags defense to get enough rest to deal with that Panthers offense with Curtis Samuel running 9 routes the entire game. Somebody gonna get tired dealing with that. You know, Greg Olsen finding them holes, sitting,
Right.
moving them chains. I mean, I think it's gonna be possession. I think the Panthers are gonna just possession the Jags out and just somehow just beat this team by more than a touchdown. I have the Panthers winning pretty big against the Jags.
Wow. I don't know how to feel about this. I've never had both of y'all. Well, y'all take that back.
Man.
Both of y'all did choose the Rams game, and we lost. But Gardner Minshew, I think, is going to show who he really is this week, especially with this pass rush. We are not the Denver Broncos. And so coming in the Bank of America Stadium, I think it's going to be let me just break this down before.
He's about to say something stupid.
No, I'm not.
I'm about to be about 50.
The thing that concerns me is that we're getting better, but we haven't been as stout as we need to be against the run. And with the loss of Kawan Short for the entire season, it is a blow, even though we haven't had him the last 2 games. Leonard Fournette looked really good last week running the ball. He ran that thing strong. He was hitting the hole. He was breaking tackles. Everybody said we should have traded up to get him because we needed a running back. Now I think we're doing very well with Christian McCaffrey. So I think this is going to be I think it's a very similar team. TJ hit it on a nail in my opinion. We both came in the same year. We both have really good defenses. I don't think Jalen Ramsey's going to play this game either. If he doesn't, I hope he doesn't. And if he does, I hope he plays very uninspired. But I think that we're going to see Kyle Allen. He's had that game where he's went against a really, really tough defense. And even though he threw the ball well, he had some mistakes. I think this is going to be the game that he's not going to come out there. He had 2 fumbles, like I told you before, 2 against the Cardinals. 3 against the Houston Texans. I don't think he's getting 4 against the Jags. I just don't think it's going to continue to do that. And I think he's going to get that ball out of his hands, and we're going to just dink dunk. We're going to move. Then we're going to hit Curtis Samuel over the top. I think these guys are going to make plays. But the Jags are no slouch. I do have us winning this game, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. TJ took my thunder. I think it's going to be I'm going to go 10. What'd you say, 10-13?
I said 13-10, yeah.
God dang it. Well, that's what I think we're gonna. All right, I'm gonna change it up. It's gonna be 10-16.
All right.
Carolina Panthers gonna win 16-10, and our kicker is phenomenal. And I just think in our home stadium it's gonna be rocking because we're winning. And one thing about the Carolina Panthers, and I said this before, we are probably one of the most streakiest teams in football. When we're losing, we are losing. And when we're winning, we are winning. So I think this is going to be that game that gets us over 500. I think we're going to get this dub in this game. Everything matches up well, pretty evenly. But I think that we, being number 2 against the pass, top 5 defense right now, we're tied for first in sacks with the New England Saints. I mean, not New England Saints, New England Patriots.
New England Saints.
I'm over there looking at this.
Disrespecting my squad for real.
Oh man, we're tied for first in the NFL in sacks, and I don't think it's gonna stop. I think this is I think we're gonna get after this Minshew guy, and I believe we're gonna turn him over. He's only had 1 interception so far, but I think we're gonna turn him over. But it could get ugly. It get ugly quick.
That's the Saints' future quarterback right there.
Minshew.
Yeah, I really feel that way.
Well, isn't he from that way or something?
I don't think so.
Where did he go to school? I don't even know.
Washington State.
Oh,
Washington State. Nah, but I feel that way. I mean, he a good quarterback, man. Like that dude, like he came out of nowhere, but it's no surprise like he as good as he is though. I mean, he had Mike Leach was his coach. They call him the mad scientist or whatever like up there at Washington State. I mean, he coached Texas Tech back in the day. He known for like his his offensive play calling. So. I like him, man. The only reason why I feel like Jacksonville won't want to keep him because of Nick Foles, of course. But man, he showed becoming a fan favorite, man, and that's kind of dangerous, man, for Nick Foles. Because everybody looked at Nick Foles as being like the savior of Jacksonville, but you get hurt in week 1 and this charismatic kid comes in. I mean, and in the first game, I think he completed like 12 straight passes, man. So I mean, he really showing that he can actually play. And then he kind of erratic and stuff like that, man. Kind of eccentric. So a lot of people kind of like that about him, especially being out there in Jacksonville.
Well, I will say this. I think, and I shouldn't get personal with it, but I get it. Cam been dressing and doing all kind of stuff, and he ain't focused on football. But this man can come out there and look all kind of ways he wants to, and it's just fun. Oh, my God, he's having fun. He's such an amazing, happy quarterback.
So
he has got to deal with the anniversary.
I mean, it's a fine line. It's a fine line between a 1970 disco suit and a bathrobe,
man.
And an Ike Turner headband. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. I mean, I get it, man. That's a good point, though. But I mean, you know how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Fitzpatrick last year when he came out of Deshaun Jackson's pickup. So I mean,
yeah. I don't know. I do find that weird. I do find that weird, though. That's a good point you just made.
I mean, it's everything is positive and gummy bears and everything with him right now. He ain't have to deal with nothing. It's cute right now.
Well, he playing with house money,
right?
I mean,
and I find the irony in Foles was a savior with the Eagles. Now he moves on to, the Jags get hurt, and here comes this darling of a quarterback, and now Foles is gonna have a lot of pressure when he ultimately comes back, kind of like Wentz had to do, and Foles won a Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's just very ironic. Football is the ultimate fairy tale story sometimes with things, but
Well, Foles, man. Foles not balling anywhere else other than Philly. I'm sorry. That's what it's been for him. And I was hoping that this would be a great opportunity for him. But hey. But I do want to say this, though. Kyle Allen, I believe, is like in the top 5 in third down conversion percentage or QBR or something rating. So I don't know. I just think he's gonna have a really good game at home, man. Especially with everybody having his back. We're probably gonna see a lot of 7 made jerseys because I don't know if they got his jersey out yet. But we'll see. I hope you're right, DJ. I would prefer it to be a blowout, but I think it's gonna be a close game.
I just don't think. I think y'all gonna that defense. I'm a very big believer in y'all defense. I've always liked your defense, but seeing Bradbury really come into himself as a number 1 cornerback, so you have that lockdown kind of presence. But like we spoke about him before, sometimes when he do get in the mix with the smaller, twitchier players, he kind of get in a little bit of trouble. But I think he's still growing. I think he has grown into upper tier player. I mean, y'all what? 3rd or something in sacks or something, like something ridiculous.
No, we're tied for 1st. I just said that.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, there you go right there. So y'all gonna most likely be hitting this kid a lot.
Yeah.
You got Luke, who's probably gonna be calling out plays. He's probably gonna be looking there like, how does he know this? Like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't never seen nothing like that before. He had to play defense like he's about to play right now, and y'all gonna play possession football. Y'all gonna keep the ball away from them. They're gonna get a lot of 3 and outs. That defense is gonna get tired, and y'all gonna open up the floodgates a little bit.
Well, I hope so. I would love for that to happen. So, all right. So we got a sweep there. I'm very shocked. I'm a little nervous
by it. Right? It's the first time the Panthers got a sweep.
I'm a little nervous by it, man. I will say that. I'm a little nervous by it. But that's what's up, man. Well, we're gonna move on to the
last
game. We got the Atlanta Falcons versus the Houston Texans.
Man, oh man. TJ?
Yeah, TJ, you start that off, TJ.
They playing in Atlanta, right?
Nah.
They playing in Houston?
Yes.
Make a difference?
Oh, okay. I got the Falcons winning this game, man. Yeah, I gotta win it. I gotta win it this game. I think that the Atlanta Falcons. Oh man, it's about time they get that win. Like, man, you got all of these media people talking about your quarterback, talking about your coach on a hot seat. I think that they love playing for. I think they like playing for Quinn. So I feel like they're gonna try to rise to the occasion, man. The Atlanta Falcons are not a good football team right now. But I think the Houston Texans, they have some issues that they need to deal with, especially on the offensive line. I think that Deshaun Watson, he's been under duress. I think that the running game, they kind of struggle, even though they had a little bit of success last week. I just think that the Houston Texans have some issues themselves. And I think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to end up winning this football game. I think they're going to rely on Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley and some of these usual suspects. And they're going to get out of there with a victory. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be one of those games that's fun to watch. But I got the Atlanta Falcons winning this football game. I say they're probably gonna win by like 3 points. Probably win by a game-winning field goal or something.
All right, I'm gonna let you go last, DJ. That's interesting. Oh man, I want to pick Atlanta every week because it seems like when I pick them, they lose. But I'm not gonna pick them to win this game. I've seen enough from this Houston Texans defense to let me know that they're in trouble because they can't run the ball. They won't be able to run the ball against this defense. And this pass rush, these linebackers and these man, they are legit. I mean, Marcellus and J.J. Watt, and then they got Cunningham, and they got Reader. They got some guys out there that can really play some ball. And I think this is going to be very similar to the Tennessee Titans game. I don't know if they're not just going to, put 10 points up. They may put up 13. They may put up 17 points. But I think the score is going to be around 24-17, 23-17. Houston Texans win by 6 or 7 points. They just have too much. Carlos Hyde is going to run all over them. I think Lamar. I'm serious, man. I think Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson going to just run. They seen what happened with the daggone they just gonna run all over them, and then they're gonna take these shots because these corners aren't it. Oliver is not it. They don't have any safeties back there. Allen. Let me take that back. I do like Allen, but he's more of a come up and hit you type of safety. He's not gonna sit back there in coverage and just do a lot of great things, in my opinion. Neal is gone, so I believe Hopkins is gonna outdo Julio because he believes he's the best receiver in the NFL. And Deshaun Watson stayed after that game and threw the ball probably, I think they said about 2, 3, 4 hours was out there just working because of what happened against the Carolina Panthers. They're not going to drop this game. There's no way they're going to drop another game at home. Bill O'Brien his job is up because they want him gone in Houston. I listened to their radio station down there in Houston, and they were pissed. 6 years of this. They want him out of there. They're gonna win this game. They're just too talented. I hate to say it, but TJ, you have been on with some things, so maybe I need to change my pick. But
Atlanta. Y'all gonna lose this game. Y'all can go to Houston. Y'all can get beat. Okay? We're gonna sit here and take a look at what games the Houston Texans lost this year. Okay, they lost 22-10, first game of the season to the Rams. They lost 13-12 to. They beat the Jaguars 12-13. Okay, that's probably one of their lowest. I'm basically gonna name the lowest production they had on offense. And the Panthers. What's the 3 things those teams can do pretty well? Get after the passer. That kind of hinders what Deshaun Watson does very well. Have y'all shown any life that you can put that type of duress on a quarterback? No. So I think Deshaun Watson is going to have a bounce-back type of performance. He's going to have time. Like I said, I've been watching y'all. Vic Beasley takes probably the wide 9 angle to get to the quarterback. That man's going to run underneath that. That tackle's going to ride his behind out of that way. Deshaun Watson, you're probably going to see him roll out of it a lot. He's going to take a lot of shots. Y'all losing Neal in that secondary is going to hurt y'all a lot. I watched A.J. Brown and Chris. I forgot his name. Y'all know who it was because y'all watched them just do whatever they want in that first half. Hopkins is not happy how he got shut down last week. He's going to come back with a vengeance. And, on the opposite side, y'all not stopping J.J. Watt, Merciless, coming off those edges. I mean, it's just not happening. Y'all haven't really stopped much to this point right now. I would be completely shocked if the Atlanta Falcons are able to go to and how Mike ate crow. I will definitely eat crow. There's no way I win this game against Houston Texans. I really don't see it.
Here for all those years, and my bad. Did it go out on yo? Did it freeze
Probably.
up?
Probably.
Okay, that's why I started talking.
Somebody probably hacked our address.
I'm sorry. That's why I started talking. I seen you freeze up. That's why I just started talking.
Oh, I heard him. I didn't see him freeze up.
Okay. That's why I started talking. I apologize.
Okay.
Y'all froze
You
up.
ain't apologize because ain't nothing to talk about. The Houston Texans gonna beat. They're gonna beat the Atlanta Falcons. They're gonna continue going down this drain that they're already starting to head down. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. They haven't established no running game. Matt Ryan's put up a lot of yards, no touchdowns, throwing interceptions.
Man, this comes down to the coach, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, basically, you have two teams that's playing for their coach right now. You got Quinn, who they saying is on the hot seat, and you got Bill O'Brien, a guy who has proven over the course of time, that he cannot get the protection to protect Deshaun Watson. He can't get the offensive line, and you got to be honest, man. Like one of these coaches is not gonna have a job. So I feel like this game right here could be a deciding factor for both guys. And I feel like if it come down to it, I feel like the Atlanta Falcons are going to try to play for their coach. I don't think Bill O'Brien. I don't think he has that type of respect in the locker room like Quinn has in the Atlanta Falcons locker room. So I think they're gonna try to put their best foot forward to try to get this win, and try to hush the noise for at least 1 week.
All I know is this offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons is bad. The Atlanta Falcons have a total of 5 sacks through 4 games. That's like 1 sack a game, pretty much.
No, they're not good. We can agree with that. Like I said, it come down to coaching.
And you're right. So to say that Deshaun Watson is gonna really, and I'm not saying they can't get a sack or 2 against him, but they're not getting 4, 5, 6. Then sacks and a lot of pressure to him. I think he's gonna, like DJ said, they're gonna eat against the Atlanta Falcons defense, and I can't see how Atlanta's offense is going to eat against this Houston Texans defense.
Hold on, wait a minute. Keep that. Okay, let me ask you this though. Why you talking about this? What makes you think that they can't get pressure on Deshaun Watson? If you look at for the last couple of weeks, Deshaun Watson has been sacked more times than any other quarterback in the National Football League. I think the Saints sacked him like 6 times in that game. I think against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he got sacked by another 4. How many times did y'all get him? About 5?
We got him 6. We got him 6
times. So
he's been sacked 18 times in 4 games, right?
Exactly. So when you look at the way that he plays, a scrambling quarterback, and we talked about this maybe a couple shows back. When you got a guy that can scramble, he's scrambling around the pocket. All you got to do is just get him behind the line of scrimmage, and that's considered a sack. So, I wouldn't think they couldn't get pressure on him. With that offensive line of the Texans, why wouldn't they be able to do it?
Because it's the defensive line of the Atlanta Falcons. That's why.
And that's the whole problem with this whole situation. That's why I was reading off who they already played this season.
Yeah.
They've played the the most recent 3 games was the Jags, Chargers, and the Panthers. Are you taking any of those? Are you taking the Atlanta Falcons line defensive line over any of those teams?
Well, we can go to all 4 of these games. They had the Saints, Jags, Chargers, and Panthers. All 4 of those are really good defensive lines and pass rushers. So this man, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I just feel like when you're dealing with scrambling quarterbacks, they have a tendency of taking a lot more sacks. So, you don't even have to be man, it's all about containment, right? If you look at, let's just say Christian McCaffrey gets a halfback toss. It's about the containment of the defensive end, right? So if you got a scrambling quarterback that's rolling out, if those defensive ends can get containment and get them down to the ground behind the line of scrimmage, that's considered a sack. So if you can do that a couple of times, you can probably generate some level of success. So I don't know, man. I just think that Houston Texans cornerback not setting the world on fire. You know, I mean, you said what now?
You said that the Houston Texans corners aren't setting the world on fire?
They're not setting the world on fire, man. They not.
But they don't have to have corners to do that when they got this pressure, especially with this terrible offensive line Matt Ryan's dealing with.
Who besides J.J. Watt on the defensive line of the Houston Texans are going to be able to get pressure? I mean, none of those guys.
Marcellus is playing like at an all-pro or Pro Bowl level right now.
At the linebacker position, man. But I mean, for getting pressure on the quarterback,
that's what he does.
I think he's more like maybe this year because of the absence of Jadeveon Clowney.
There you go.
But he was always one of those guys that was like really good in cover. He was like a really good cover linebacker, always have been since he came. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I just feel like, man, you know how it is, man. Every year, and you can relate to this, Mike. Ron Rivera's job always be online every single year. People talking about, man, you know. I mean, it was talking about this a couple weeks ago with Cam Newton. I mean, but the Carolina Panthers, they rose above it and they played inspired because, you know, they want to keep their coach around. I feel like it's the same way with Quinn, you know, and I just think they're going to probably put their best foot forward. It's just a good football team. I think we all can agree and say it is not. Okay, but I feel like when it comes down to it, when you're actually playing for something, and you can find that level, you know, you find that reason to be inspired to go out there and perform, I think they can do it. I mean, they got enough talent offensively to do it. I mean, they got one of the best offenses in the league if they can put it all together. They can put a point.
And that's why I disagree because I don't think they have a good offense. I think their offense, and I said it before, DJ, we went through each position because I believe in the game of football, you have to look at the quarterback, offensive line, tight ends, receivers, and running backs. And when I look at their team in the NFC South, a lot of y'all were trying to say the Carolina Panthers. I looked at Atlanta as being the worst team offensively in the division. And the reason why is because their offensive line was terrible. And I believe that they had probably the third best running back. And their tight end was pretty good. But the only thing that they were elite in is receivers.
That's all you need.
No, you don't. Not in this.
All you need is time. All you need is time and throw the ball.
And you won't have that. You don't have that against these teams.
Oh, I mean, and you gotta admit though, they did have some injuries on the offensive line too. So I mean,
and they still got them.
Exactly. So that's an issue too. So I mean, they got a good.
They haven't established no running game. I mean, and Matt Ryan right now is not playing good football. I mean, he's putting up yards, but.
I can't believe I'm defending the Falcons here.
I mean,
it's a sympathy pick.
It's given probably some conversation. So I just don't think Matt Ryan right now is playing really good football.
They're not.
I think they're playing. I think once again struggling. I keep on mentioning Dirk Carter's name, but
bruh,
he's not Kyle Shanahan. You know
that is the third. That is the third offensive coordinator they had in 3 years.
Right.
But it's one that he had for years prior. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not somebody he's never had before.
But that's still an offense. That's still a completely different offense, man. That's still completely. Think about all of the guys. Even though Matt Ryan is the quarterback and Julio Jones was there, but think about people like Calvin Ridley and those guys on the offensive line. And then you had Hooper. I mean, I think he probably was there, but he probably was on the practice squad somewhere. I mean, you still got a bunch of young guys on this team that really don't know that much about that offense of Dirk Cutter. And when you have this offensive philosophy in your head all year long, like you ain't thinking about that. I mean, just think about this. I put it like this: if you had a job for like 5-6 years, right, and you leave that job and you go somewhere else and you work for some other company for like 4 or 5 years, and then you go back to the job that you had before that, you probably gonna have to get taught all over again some of the things that you know. You know, I mean, things like it's hard. You know, like so. I mean, I can't believe I'm defending the Falcons, but when you got an offense, like when you have different offensive play callers year after year, it's hard. You know, like man, when did Matt Ryan have his best year? When Kyle Shanahan was his offensive coordinator. Where's Kyle Shanahan now with the 49ers? hasn't been the same since. And neither has that offense, to be honest with you.
No, but the thing about them, man, they've been outscored this season by 30 points, y'all. 30 points with 29. They've scored 70 points so far this season. This is the Atlanta Falcons we're talking about. They are last by a lot in the division. Right now, the Carolina Panthers has put up 95 points. New Orleans Saints put up 84. Tampa Bay 123. They have 70 points, and they've given up 99 points, man. No one has that much big of a spread of a difference nowhere near in the NFC South. And they're going to play against an elite defense. This defense is no pushover defense. This is a really good defense.
Well, I agree with the Houston Texans. Defense is the elite defense. But like I said, I just think it comes down to the coaching, which leads me to a point that I was going to make earlier when we were talking about the Falcons on the last show.
Right.
The fact is, you look at these teams in the NFC South. You look at the Carolina Panthers. You look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you look at the Saints. You look at these teams and you look at their coaching staffs. All of these guys were guys who basically the team selected the coach and they brought their own guys there. And when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, they had their same general manager who was, he hired Quinn, and then you have like the scout team that was there when Quinn got there. The only person that really left was Mike Smith at that time. I think that when it comes down to it, I think that the general manager and whoever the scout of the Atlanta Falcons needs to be fired. I think that when you're dealing with a head coach who comes in and you just kind of just plug and place, I think real success from an organization comes from when you hire a coach and he brings in his own guys. That's where I feel like you have true success, because there's really a bunch of guys that you're familiar with, and you bring them in and y'all generate some level of success. The Atlanta Falcons, I just feel like Arthur Blank, he wears his emotion on his sleeve. Like, you even look at some of the negotiations with Julio Jones and stuff, man, sometimes you got to be a little bit cutthroat about some of these situations. You look at teams like the Steelers and, they don't never pay nobody.
Right.
You look at people like the Patriots, they don't never pay nobody. I just feel like with the owner, and he feel like, he be a little bit too buddy. I feel like that's the problem with the Atlanta Falcons. They've been whiffing on draft picks for years, and that's the reason why they haven't been generating any success. That one year that they went to the Super Bowl, just think about it, look around. A lot of those players that was on that team not even with the team no more. And the ones that you do have, you have to pay them. That's why it's important for when you get guys in the draft, you have to have that win now mentality. You got like a 4 or 5 year window in order to get the job done. And they missed it, in my opinion. That's the reason. But until they fire their general manager and the person that's over their scouting team, I think they're probably going to be in the cellar. I didn't want to admit it. I thought maybe they can weather the storm, but you paying people max money and Matt Ryan making them the highest paid quarterback at the time of signing. Nah, that ain't it.
Yeah, I think Dan Quinn's gone.
I don't think they're going to fire.
Because I looked at this team. And I'm looking at this schedule, and I know anything can happen, man. Any given Sunday, you never know what happens, man. But this team here is looking at 6-10, 5-11.
And that's his fault.
And you said it before. Arthur Blank he seems like he's an impatient guy. He's paying all this money. He wants to win. They just went 7-9 last year, and they had the injury as their excuse last season. I don't think he's going to be able to use that as their excuse when they go 5. And even though they have injuries, But I don't think he's going to be able to use that as a 5-11 record, 6-10 record. We have Julio. We have this and that. We paying this and that. Ryan, you're supposed to be paid this type of money to be. No, he's good. Somebody has to be the fall guy. Somebody has to take for losing. And it's going to be Dan Quinn. I can't see any way possible he comes back.
If they fire Dan Quinn, it's because Arthur Blank bought into the sauce of this new NFL. Everybody want to get the next Sean McVay. Everybody wants the head coach to be offensive dominant. If he fires Dan Quinn, it's because he kind of fell into that trap. That'll be the biggest mistake that he made as a coach, because Dan Quinn is a really good football coach. The thing about it is, I mean, it's kind of like one of them situations where I think we were talking about with Tampa Bay. You know, you just get somebody in and you just plug them in and, you know, don't have their guys come in. You know, like it's kind of like that. So I think if Dan Quinn gets fired, man, somebody's going to pick him up. And he's going to have success any way that he goes. But I just think that Arthur Blank probably buying into that offensive philosophy where you got to have that young hot shot, like the Cliff Kingsbury out in Arizona. See how that's working out, right?
But all I know is his team is made up for that. So you should go get an offensive guru type of guy, because Dirk Cutter is not that type of guy.
No, sir.
So you need to have an offensive mind, because that's what you're pouring your money into.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the thing about it too. I think Dan Quinn is definitely on the chopping block, mainly because the money is going to be made. Like you said, they watched their team go to the Super Bowl not so long ago, and they obviously put all their money into the offense, and they're not getting rid of Matt Ryan. They're not getting rid of Julio, so they're going to need somebody to figure that stuff out, because they're going to keep them. So you're not going to keep a defensive-minded coach that's not having success there. You know, and that's why when you were talking about the whole who gonna get fired, O'Brien or Quinn being the better coach, but I think Quinn got a better chance of being fired than O'Brien. They've been mediocre when it comes to barely making the playoffs every year, whatever the case may be, or being 9-7. But I don't know. When you put that much into your offense, you expect some return, and they're not getting.
Well, let me ask you this, and I guess we can move on, because, like you said, we spend way too much time on these Falcons. Do you think Arthur Blank has been looking around, and if you look at the Atlanta Falcons for the past, I say about 13 years, man, both their coaches have been defensive oriented. I mean, Mike Smith was a defensive coach, and Dan Quinn is a defensive coach. So do you think that, once again, is he looking around the league and he's looking at the landscape and he's looking at what some of these teams are getting? I mean, you look at was that Matt LaFleur out there in Green Bay. You're looking at some of these other, like I said, Cliff Kingsbury out in Arizona. Sean McVay, I mean, so many offensive-minded coaches. Do y'all think, like, that's probably in the back of his mind, and do you think that probably is going to be something that he's thinking about, and that's going to make him get rid of Dan Quinn?
Absolutely, because look at the coach for the Colts that came from Philadelphia. I can't remember his name.
Frank Wright.
Right, yeah. And then you got Freddie Kitchen. Like you said, it's a whole bunch of offensive minded coaches that have been hired recently. And I think it's going to have to, for this team to have success, because the only way they can win is they're going to have shootouts and outscore people, the way that this roster is made up. So they're going to have to get an offensive guru in there. And they probably should have just kept Shanahan and made him the head coach and got a defensive coordinator in there, and then just went on with that. But I get it. They had to do what they had to do. Dan Quinn was the head coach. But as of right now, since Shanahan's been gone, this team has not – they went to the playoffs one time. I give them that 10-6 record.
And that's where their money is at. It needs to start performing. I mean, and that means getting somebody that will put more emphasis on fixing that offense than that. They're going to continue probably drafting defensive players and just hoping they hit.
Yeah,
That's all they've done. The only person what they've kept on the defense is what Trufant and Grady Jarrett. Outside of that, it's like a revolving door out there. You know, they got a bunch of young kids out there that obviously Deion Jones, bright spot. Neal can't stay healthy. Vic Beasley, and you got Tack McKinley on the other side. Where are they putting any investments in the free agents or anything on the defense? Or where are they really re-signing their young nucleus of players really like that? So, I mean, they're going to need that offense to start, like you said, outscoring teams again with a Kyle Shanahan-esque type of a coach. But like you said, we spent a lot of time. My mouth is starting to get a little dry talking about these dudes. So
Yeah, for real. Like,
water.
but it's interesting stuff though, man. For
It
real.
is.
Like, but they still suck. You know?
Yep, and they're gonna be 1-4 at the end of it.
Well, not with TJ. They're gonna be climbing out 2-3.
Nah, man. And I don't want to spend too much. I ain't even gonna say it. We're gonna wrap it up. but just know Houston Texans are still not saying everybody's not in the hunt. The Houston Texans are 2-2, just like everybody in their division.
Yeah.
So
but that's the NFC South. Look, hey, we spent more than 7 minutes on the Atlanta Falcons. I'm proud of us. We really brought up some things.
Some time.
Really, yeah.
Give my hand.
That's the wrap up for the South. I got any last words for it? I think we touched everything. We went pretty in depth.
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah, my last point is if I can think of any team in NFC South and looking at our schedules, I think the Carolina Panthers match up against these AFC South teams. If you can take the Carolina Panthers out of the NFC South and put them in the AFC South, they'll fit in like a glove. But
Yeah,
that's all I have to say about that. That just made me think about it. Just talking about that Carolina Jacksonville game.
right. That's why I like the matchups against them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
That's all we got for this part. Enjoy another segment and episode of the NFC South versus the NFL. We enjoy doing this. Love it. Hope y'all enjoy as much as we do. Comment, dispute, freaking disagree all the way. I would definitely have no problem responding. Football is fun. It's controversial. But yeah, we out of here, man. This your boy DJ. No Twitter handle as of right now. Fire them cannons.
Hey man, it's your boy Mike Ricks. Follow me at Mike Ricks. That's RICKS 07 at Twitter. Keep pounding, baby.
And it's yours truly, TJ Jones. Follow yours truly on Twitter at TJ the Radio Guy. And when you see me helping an old lady across the street, just yell out, "Who that?"
The Bucs beating the Saints.
Oh Lord, here we go. All right, man. And we out. Thank y'all.